So I have a request to ask a question from S. Lamini. I'm going to see if we can get S. Lamini to ask his or her question.
Thank you very much, Imraan. Good evening, Dr. Fourie. A pleasure. Thank you very much for taking the time. It's been insightful to follow your career over the years, and I think it's a pleasure to have you back in the country. A question I have is more of a practical one. I think you're fortunate enough to have a bird's eye view, given the fact that the JSE can be seen as some form of a economic watering hole for all the largest companies in the country. From your side, how are the leading companies in the country responding to the new realities of the COVID-19 pandemic? How are they looking at the future ways of work? And what are the leaders in the companies doing to prepare for the future ways of work? And I'm sure, as you know, there are various global trends such as globalization, the change in real estate consumption, technology. So just at a high view, what would you say are the future ways of work, and how is South African companies faring compared to the world? Thank you very much.
Very relevant question. Thank you, Sakile. When I was in Australia for 3 years, over the past 3 years, I was quite intrigued prior to the crisis at how many of those staff members worked from home. It was quite an entrenched way of operating. And when I took over as CEO at the Australian Payments Network, we decided to go digital, and we bought everybody laptops, and we got rid of desk phones, and many people started working from home. What I think is likely to happen, and what we are indeed looking at right now, is to have a bit of a hybrid model. I do think that there is a need for community and interaction and a level of engagement. And so it's likely to be a sort of 2 days or 3 days in the office and the rest working from home. I think that the rate of digitization is exponential as a result of the crisis. And the adoption of and the sophistication of technology, like what we're doing right now, the Zoom meeting, we shouldn't underestimate. I do think that it will be restructuring and causing quite a significant potential concern or crisis in the property sector, because the amount of office space that companies will be utilizing will reduce. And so you're going to see investment flooding out of property potentially in the business sense and into technology. And so I do think that we shouldn't underestimate the rate of adoption of very far-reaching Internet of Things, of geolocation, satellite-based interaction, and that's quite an exciting situation. Who would ever have thought? I would never have thought that we could run the exchange from home. Not only did we have the highest volumes at the exchange in the history of the exchange, and we're over 130 years old now, but we processed those all from home. And what I think we're going to see is projects are being managed from home. We ran an enormous implementation, and ironically, it was just too risky to have people going back into the office, because the Wi-Fi, when I went into the office, my Wi-Fi wasn't working properly, and so we seamlessly introduced massive systems change, and everyone was working from their dining rooms and their studies in their homes. So I think we're going to see more of that. I think you're going to see a lot less transport, and fewer people owning cars. People will be Ubering because they're not having to drive to work every day. It's just a situational travel. But I do think you will never get away from the requirement, the social requirement of employees to interact interpersonally. So I don't think we'll ever move to 100% digital, online, offline sort of situation. But certainly we are likely to continue to embrace what we're experiencing now.